Zay in the house. Happy New Year. I hope 2026 is a great year for all of us, both here on the channel and outside of it. That said, welcome to the Nerdverse. Stranger Things has come to an end, and the finale left a lot of people emotional, confused, and divided. But maybe the most important question isn't whether 11 died or survived. Maybe the real question is, why did we need absolute answers so badly for this ending to work? For a long time, I believed that a good ending had to explain everything, tie up every loose end, deliver clear, definitive, unquestionable answers. And today, I realized that was a mistake. Not just meanie, but part of an entire way we've learned to consume stories. The so-called hype society taught us to see TV shows as puzzles. Every detail becomes a theory. Every silence becomes a promise. Every episode has to deliver something bigger than the last. And in that process, a lot of people forgot to look at what Stranger Things truly was. When the lights go out and the series finally ends, it doesn't try to impress. It doesn't scream. It doesn't pull off a massive last-minute twist. It goes home. And that is exactly what makes this ending so powerful. Before we go any further, if you enjoy this kind of deeper, more narrative-focused analysis, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment below with your thoughts on the ending. That really helps the channel grow, get monetized, and keep producing this kind of content. From the very beginning, Stranger Things was never really about monsters, government conspiracies, or parallel dimensions. All of that was always background. The heart of the series was friendship, a group of kids using an RPG game as an emotional shelter in the face of an adult world slowly closing in on them. The RPG was never just an aesthetic detail or a nerdy reference. It was a symbolic language. That was where they had control. That was where they were heroes. That was where the world made sense. And that's why the final scene works so well. Seeing that group gathered one last time, finishing a campaign, closing the books, and passing the torch to a new generation isn't just nostalgia, it's the series saying goodbye to the audience the same way it began. Friends around a table, creating stories before adult life fully knocks on the door. When we move into the conclusion of the main plot, the discussion becomes heavier. The series makes it clear that Vecna and the Mind Flayer are not opposing forces. They're not fighting for control. They act together. One strengthens the other. The hive mind logic was always there. Henry Creel was never just a victim possessed by the Upside Down. He had a choice. He could have resisted. He chose not to. And that matters. Stranger Things doesn't try to redeem Henry in the end. Evil doesn't come only from the influence of the Upside Down, but also from the decisions he makes. The final plan is ambitious, to merge our world with the Upside Down and recreate reality under a distorted vision. For a brief moment, it begins to work, but it's stopped by 11, while she confronts the Mind Flayer from the inside. The group on the outside uses fire, one of the Upside Down creature's greatest weaknesses, to weaken the hive mind. When one falls, the other falls with it. The Mind Flayer dies. Vecna is defeated, and Joyce delivers the final blow. This isn't just a physical victory. It's symbolic. It's Hawkins taking revenge for everything it lost. And then we reach one of the biggest gaps in the ending, Will. Despite being deeply connected to the hive mind, he doesn't suffer any visible consequences after Vecna and the Mind Flayer are defeated. The series doesn't explain this directly, and maybe it doesn't need to. As the villains weaken, the connection breaks. When everything ends, the bond simply ceases to exist. No more powers, no more pain. No more Upside Down inside him. The silence is the answer. After the battle, the conflict shifts. Now it's against the military and the government. And this is where 11's tragedy truly comes into focus. The MKUltra project was never really buried. As long as she exists, someone will try to recreate it. Her blood is the key, and that's why the sacrifice becomes inevitable. When 11 disappears, the series never explicitly confirms her death, but everything suggests she chose this. Not to win a battle, but to prevent other children from going through what she did, to make sure there are no new experiments, to end the cycle. The idea that 11 survived and went to live in isolation emerges as a narrative constructed by Mike, not as a cruel lie, but as an emotional survival mechanism. There are details that don't quite fit, promises that aren't fully fulfilled, symbols that repeat in incomplete ways. It's beautiful, comforting, but it might not be true. And that isn't bad writing. It's a narrative choice. The final episode isn't perfect. There are clear pacing issues, the fragmented editing breaks emotional flow, Fake-out deaths lose impact from overuse. The final confrontation leans away from the cosmic horror that defined the Mind Flayer and flirts with a more generic action aesthetic. The reveal involving Henry loses strength for some viewers because it had already been explored in other media. All of that exists. None of it should be ignored. But none of it erases what the ending gets right. 11's apparent death doesn't work as shock value, and it shouldn't. It works as symbolic closure. 11 never fully belonged to that world. She existed to bring the group together. Her absence represents the need to let certain things go. Ambiguity isn't narrative cowardice, it's maturity. The best series finales are often like this: suspended, incomplete, human. Because no absolute answer would ever truly be satisfying. In the end, Stranger Things ignores theories, predictions, and bets made before the story even existed. All of that proves disposable. What remains is simple. It was always simple. Kids playing RPG as symbolic preparation for adult life. The book closing, the table empty, a new generation beginning its own adventure. For those who grew up playing RPGs, this reaches deep, because that phase of life never repeats the same way. The memories stay, and maybe that's the point the series wants to make. 11 may have died, the series may have ended, but it all lives on in the characters, in their memories, and in ours. Because sometimes believing in a happy ending is the only way to keep moving forward. If this video resonated with you, leave a like, share it with someone who also loves Stranger Things, and comment below with your interpretation of the ending. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, because there's a lot of deep analysis coming.